Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports. Today is March 22nd, 2024, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
What's going on out there, everybody? This is Ben Dickerson. I am your co-host. And as promised, I am ready for my fearless forecast, my mock draft 1.0. It's my first one of probably three. As we get closer to the draft, I may refine it. Sometimes I have to do some refining because I changed my mind up about who I think is going to take who. Also, there's some draft trades in the wind. Draft pick trades are in the wind. New England Patriots may, in fact, trade out of pick number 3. There's some other things going on. The Vikings, who had 1 first-round pick, now have 2, and possibly could package those to move up. So until those things happen, though, I'm going to let you know how I see it right now. The other thing I wanted to say was, I want you to remember, I don't know how Mel Kiper and them do it, okay? This is how I do it. What I do is I check each team, I check their needs, either by what I've seen or what I know or what I've heard or what I've read, okay? At that point, and believe me, every single team has multiple needs. So now those needs need to be balanced. Most of that is my opinion. I then go in and I look at the players and I pick who I think best fits that particular team's need. This is totally my opinion. Yes, opinion and conjecture, which we usually don't provide. That's exactly what I'm doing here. Oh, and believe me, I'm going to try not to bore everybody, so I'm going to kind of whip through it. I'm not going to give a lot of needless information if I can help it. But feel free to stop me, Barry, if you have a question about anything.
Well, you know how I love needless information, Benny, so I might have to stop you. We'll have
That's okay.
But okay, let's get ready to rock then. I'll let you introduce it. You go for it.
All right, cool. So this is Ben's 2024 NFL Mock Draft 1.0. Some of these picks are going to seem obvious. Some of these picks are going to seem like, oh, I seen or heard that on TV already. That's going to happen from time to time. But these are totally mine, picked by me. My opinion all the way. If it matches somebody else, so be it. But I didn't copy nobody's nothing. This is how I really feel about this. Okay? The number 1 pick in the draft belongs to the Chicago Bears. I believe they are settled in on quarterback Caleb Williams. I might not necessarily agree with that, but again, like I said, I'm trying to figure out what teams need what and what player fits that particular need according to that team. So I'm trying to think like I think they are thinking. All right. So Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC, 6'1", 214. Elite athlete with a superior arm talent, which you'll hear quite a bit. Arm talent means a lot of different things somewhere along the line. I'll explain that to everybody. He's very accurate from the pocket, and he's also accurate when he's rolling out. He excels in making the tough off-balance throws, and that means he's really good when he's throwing under pressure. That's why a lot of people are comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. I think that's going a little bit too far, but I understand why people are saying it because he makes some off-platform throws look pretty easy. So he does have that skill. Number 2 pick in the draft belongs to the Washington Commanders. They are also in need of a quarterback. I believe they will take quarterback Jaden Daniels out of LSU, 6'4", 210. My personal favorite. I believe he is the best quarterback in this class. Kind of like we did last year. You and I both agreed last year that Bryce Young was not our number 1, that CJ Stroud was. I kind of see the same situation going on here. Now, in my opinion, Daniels is the best quarterback in the draft, just like I said, in this entire class, and close to being the best player in this draft. Again, my opinion. He has an excellent arm. He also has excellent legs. He excels at the RPO and has exhibited good command of an offense and superior decision-making skills. Number 3 in the draft, and this could change in the near future, but for
Before you go to
now,
number 3, let me quickly say, I don't believe he's getting the correct media attention. I think they keep talking about all these other guys, JJ, McCarthy. I'll let you talk about these other guys, but
yeah,
you know, and of course Caleb. But I'm just not hearing his name like I think I should. So okay, that was it.
kind of the same thing that happened to CJ Stroud. Some dudes, they got this certain players locked in certain places, and they feel like the other guys need hype because maybe they believe in them more than what they feel the public believes in them. So they got to talk about it. Or maybe they feel like the public's talking about them too much and they try to knock the guys down a peg. They will do that, you know. But yeah, I agree with you. I believe that's a situation that's going on right now that bears some watching. And again, we're still 3 weeks to a month out. So stuff's going to change as we get closer and closer. So now we got the number 3 pick that belongs to the New England Patriots right now. There's a possibility they may trade it out of that pick. If they do, I believe they will have made the decision to stick with Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback and maybe take a quarterback later on in the draft or possibly wait till see what next year's class looks like and try to shore up some other needs that they have. But right now, I think their need for a quarterback is really strong. So if they stay in their position, they should take Drake Maye. Drake Maye is a quarterback out of North Carolina, more the prototypical size, 6'4", 223. Ideal size and arm strength. And believe it or not, this guy's pretty mobile. He's not an elite athlete, so getting out of trouble might be an issue for him. You know what I mean? When the pocket breaks down and he has to get out of trouble but still make a pass downfield, that could possibly be a problem. But I've seen this kid run. He's pretty rugged. He kind of puts you in the mind of a Josh Allen. So that bears some watching. But when he's in the pocket, he's pretty cool in there. He's very methodical. He works through his progressions. He doesn't get jittery. He doesn't have funny feet. And he's pretty good at the dance, like we like to call it. He's pretty nimble when he's in the pocket. So Drake Maye, I think, goes to the Patriots. The number 4 pick belongs to the Arizona Cardinals. Recently, I thought this was locked, but recently I've heard the Cardinals may, in fact, be looking to trade back a little bit. If somebody really comes at them with a nice offer for the number 4 pick, they are interested in possibly trading it. But for now, I got them going with wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., Philly kid, son of Marvin Harrison, the Hall of Famer from the Colts. He's out of Ohio State. He's 6'4", 205. He was the Biletnikoff winner in 2022 and 2023. That's the award that they give to the best wide receiver in college football. To win that 2 years in a row, I think is a pretty big deal. He played through constant press coverage and constant double teams and was still super productive. No question, he is the best receiver and some would say the best player overall in this draft. Number 5 belongs to the LA Chargers. Obviously, the LA Chargers already have Justin Herbert at quarterback, but we have another receiver going early. This will be Malik Nabers out of LSU, 6 feet, 200 pounds. Pretty much designated as the next best thing at the position after Harrison. Nabers can play out wide and he can play in the slot, but it's in the slot where he really, really shines. He gets into his routes really quick and he can stretch the field. He's a yak monster. So after the catch, watch this kid go to work. Number 6 pick belongs to my New York Football Giants. Now, I got a little off my normal platform here when it comes to my team and yours, okay? What everybody else out there is saying the Giants' most pressing need is, I went against it. And what a lot of other people are saying, the 49ers' most pressing need is, I went against that too. Only for those two teams. But we got a ways to go before we get to the Niners. Number 6, the Giants, I believe, will take offensive tackle Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. He's 6'9", 321 pounds. Prototypical size and skill in run blocking and pass protection. This guy's ready to plug and play on day one. I think this guy's a home run if they take him. I don't see how this guy can miss at all. Number 7, the Tennessee Titans, I believe, will take an offensive tackle also. They need help on their line. Olu Fashanu out of Penn State. He's 6'6", 312. Another really big guy. Great athleticism for his size. He's got great skills in both pass protection and run blocking, but he excels at pass blocking with advanced footwork and really, really good hand placement. This guy can stop an edge rusher really well. He's very polished. Number 8, the Atlanta Falcons. They need an edge rusher. They got their quarterback. They've shored up their a couple of other positions, including wide receiver, through free agency. So their first pick in the draft, I believe, will be an edge rusher. That would be Jared Verse. He's out of Florida State. He's 6'4", 254 pounds. He comes into the draft with a lot of experience as he's a fifth-year senior. He's got elite athleticism, size, and speed with an explosive first step that helps him excel at pass rushing. But he is also very solid against the run. And when we talk about these pass rushers and these pass blockers, you'll start to notice the higher guys are really good at both things. Both good at stopping the run, both good at getting after the quarterback, and on the offensive side, very good at run blocking and also at pass protection. Other than that, you'll start to notice some guys are really good at one thing, but need some polish at something else. The number 9 belongs to the Chicago Bears, their second pick in the first round. They had just as many, this is the funny thing. This is funny, I have to say this. They had just as many, if not more needs than any other team in the league. Assuming they will take care of quarterback with the number 1 pick, which is what I believe they will do by taking Caleb Williams. They also checked off wide receiver and cornerback boxes by trading for Keenan Allen at wide receiver from the Chargers, and by re-signing their star corner, who's Jalen Johnson. So they took care of those 2 needs. They still have needs, but most glaring of all the needs that they still have is actually a center. So you don't hear too much about centers going in the first round unless they're really, really good. And that's what this guy is. His name is Jackson Powers Johnson. He's out of Oregon. He's 6'3", 328 pounds. He is the Remington Award winner, which means he was the best center in college football in 2023. He has a solid mix of agility, power, and technique, and is equally skilled in run blocking and pass protection. This guy is NFL ready with some minor adjustments to the pro game, you know, the normal adjustments that most rookies have to make, the speed of the game and all that stuff. But this guy is close to being a plug-and-play day one guy also. At number 10, we have the New York Jets. They need help on their offensive line. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is coming back off of his injury. Protecting him is uber important, okay? So the next best tackle I have going to them would be JC Latham. He's out of Alabama, another pretty massive guy. He's 6'6", 360 pounds. Size, strength, and arm length are his most outstanding assets. Believe it or not, the length of a tackle's arms are extremely important. This guy's got it all. Although he is massive, he has shown he can play both guard and tackle, which is also a big deal. He can move around. powerful in the run game, but will need to refine his footwork and pass protection. So that's something that pro coaches can probably take care of in the offseason during training camp and rookie camp and all that stuff. They'll have him ready. I think he's going to be a really good pro.
Amazing.
The number 11 pick belongs to the Minnesota Vikings. This team needs a quarterback. I know they went out and they got Sam Darnold, but I think Sam Darnold's going to be what they call a bridge quarterback while they try to get a rookie guy ready. And that rookie guy is a dude that got a lot of hype lately. That's J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan. 6'2", 219. At the time that I talked about my top prospects a couple of weeks ago, my top prospects at each position, I didn't consider McCarthy. I really didn't, hardly at all. But since the combine, he's been flying up teams' draft boards, not to mention that word on the street is the Vikings are intrigued by him. The fact that he played in a run-heavy offense makes you wonder how will he do in an NFL-style offense that throws the ball a whole heck of a lot more than they did at Michigan. But what makes him special, though, is his arm strength. He does have that. He also shows great poise under pressure. He's outstanding pocket. He has outstanding pocket presence, and he has a lot of touch on his long ball. So although he didn't throw the ball a lot, when he did, he was very impressive doing it. J.J. McCarthy, the next quarterback off the board to the Vikings. At number 12, the Denver Broncos obviously need a quarterback. I think the guy they're going to like, and this might be a bit of a reach because I'm not crazy about this dude, but I'm trying to think like the Denver Broncos think. I'm going to say they go with Bo Nix out of Oregon. He's 6'2", 217, has NFL caliber arm strength, and he's a better than average runner. Let's face it, nobody believes that Jarrett Stidham is anything more than a low-end bridge quarterback at this point. So they got to get a quarterback. I think Bo Nix is going to be their guy. At number 13, we have another team that needs a quarterback. So these guys are flying off the board. That's the Las Vegas Raiders, and I believe they'll go after another one of my favorites, Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington. He's 6'3", 213. Let's face it, the Raiders need a quarterback in the worst way. And in my opinion, if Penix falls to them, they will be very, very happy. And the reason I say that is because, you know, when you start getting around this area of the first round, you have a lot of teams with quarterback needs. And this is a pretty good class of quarterback. This guy could go over that guy. I mean, Denver could take Penix. I don't know. The Vikings could take Penix and not J.J. McCarthy. But I think if any of those guys fall to the Raiders, they'll be happy. But if Penix falls to them, not only will they be happy, but I think they'll end up being happy over the course of the season also. This kid's really good. Again, that's my opinion. If he does fall, it will probably be because of his injury history. But his football IQ, his arm talent, and his leadership qualities should make up for anything else. He has a big arm with great touch on his deep ball. He does really well with pre-snap reads, and he is very, very nimble in the pocket. At number 14, we're almost halfway there. We got the New Orleans Saints. They need an edge rusher in the worst way, and there's still some really good edge rushers out there. This is one of them, Dallas Turner out of Alabama. Alabama cranks out these D linemen every year. This kid's 6'4", 247. He is fast. Ran a 4.46 40 at the combine. He's very athletic, very explosive, had a 40-inch vertical, 6'4", 247. This kid could be a power forward in basketball, man. His skills are a little bit raw, but he has the ability to play traditional D end or outside linebacker. I believe this is the kid that I said actually worked out with the linebackers instead of the normal defensive linemen. At number 15, Indianapolis Colts. They're going to go off the beaten path here a little bit. They're going to take the first cornerback in this draft, and I think they're going to take Kool-Aid McKinstry out of
Kool-Aid.
Alabama. His name is Kool-Aid, which is a really cool nickname. But on top of that, his first name is extremely hard to say and remember. So a lot of times when you look him up, it won't even show what his real first name is. It'll just say Kool-Aid. That's crazy. His grandmother gave him that name. But anyway, Kool-Aid 6'1", 195 pounds. He has elite ball skills and anticipation in coverage. He's very physical in press man coverage and very fluid in coverage in zone. He can also play slot corner if necessary. So he can play outside, he can play inside on the slot. He's got skills to do both, which is very good and very important. He ran in the mid 4.4s at his pro day. He did this kind of weird. Well, I don't want to say it's weird, but it kind of scares me a little bit. So he had a Jones fracture in his foot after the season. I think he played through the end of the college season with this Jones fracture. Now, Jones fracture is not real bad, but in fact, it is a fracture. So he didn't run and do any drills at the combine. It's not fully healed, but he did run at his pro day. And he's now, if he hasn't already gotten the surgery to fix it, he's going to get it done very soon. And they believe that it should heal properly and heal really well in time for him to make it to training camp. So he did run a 4.4 with a fractured foot at his pro day. An added plus for this guy also is he's a very dangerous punt returner. At number 16, we have the Seattle Seahawks. They need help on defense. They're going to go for the first D tackle. I believe that will be Byron Murphy II out of Texas. He's 6'1", 297. He's a productive three-down defender who can play D tackle in a 4-3, or he can play nose in a 3-4. He's versatile that way. He's very powerful against the run, and he's got a quick first step to shoot gaps on passing downs. This guy will make offenses think twice on either run downs or passing downs. He's very dynamic on the D line. Number 17, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. They need help on offense. They're going to go for the next best O tackle out there. And specifically, well, actually, I shouldn't say specifically. He played mostly offensive tackle, but this guy also can play guard. That's Troy Fautanu out of Washington, 6'4", 317, really good size. This guy is an elite pass protector with great footwork and agility. So if he has great footwork and agility in pass protection at tackle, that makes him even better at guard. Now, I don't know exactly where they're going to put him, but he's got those tools. He also has the tools to be a good run blocker, but he does need some polish there. He played mainly tackle, like I said. He should easily transition to guard if they need him to. And some would say that that's the Jaguars' specific need. So he's a good guy for them to pick up to fill that need. The Cincinnati Bengals are number 18. They need offensive line work, help. But there's a guy out there that we're halfway through the first round, and they just can't pass this guy up. Yeah, they need to protect Joe Burrow. That's extremely important. But they're not going to pass up a talent like this at this point. It's a tight end. His name is Brock Bowers. He's out of Georgia, 6'4", 240. At that height and weight, he ran a 4.43 in the 40, which is faster than a bunch of the safeties coming out ran. It's faster than some of the wide receivers did too. Already a willing and skilled blocker inside. He also has elite ball skills and body control and a relentless motor. And this guy also is a yak monster. Very hard to tackle. Possibly this dude will be spoken of as a generational talent in a few years at his position. And I'm looking forward to that. I think this guy is going to be the next great tight end. And we got quite a few of them in the NFL right now, but this guy's going to be the next one.
Sounds like Kittle, doesn't he?
Yes, he's very much so. Size-wise, the way he runs, that's a good comparison.
The blocking
Yep.
aspect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 19, we're looking at the LA Rams. They're going to go for a corner also. Again, a very specific need, but one that's important since they traded away Jalen Ramsey. They're going to go after cornerback Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins is out of Clemson. He's 6'1", 174, lightning fast. I think this guy ran the second or third fastest 40 at the combine. He ran a 4.28. This allows, that kind of speed allows him to run with any receiver out there, and he recovers really quickly if he gets beaten. He has the skill set and versatility to play man and cover 3 zone. Very good pick for them at corner if, in fact, that's the way they want to go. Number 20 belongs to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've been in the news quite a bit because of the coup that they pulled off at the quarterback position. So now they need to protect those quarterbacks, whoever they happen to be, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. They're going to go after an offensive tackle. Actually, this guy played tackle, guard, and center. Again, versatility on the offensive line can be extremely important. The way those guys go down sometimes with knee and ankle injuries, you might need to move a guy, and it's good to be able to move a guy who's done it all before. His name is Graham Barton. He's out of Duke, 6'5", 313 pounds, versatile enough to play anywhere on the line, played mostly tackle, but his arm length might move him to guard or center, which he can do. But again, like I said, at tackle, although he did play mostly there and was productive, he doesn't have the actual arm size that the pros are, arm length rather, that the pros are looking for. So I'm believing that he's probably going to move to guard or center, which is a position of need for the Steelers, both of them. He has great burst and is agile for his size, which allows him to sustain blocks. He excels at run blocking and has the tools to improve in pass protection, especially if he moves inside. That shouldn't be too big of a deal for him at guard or at center, improving his pass protection. It's mostly a footwork thing. So I think that'll be a great pick for the Steelers. At number 21, we're looking at the Miami Dolphins. Offensive tackle, again, big need for the Dolphins, got to protect Tua. Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. He's 6'8", 322. Some of these dudes are just massive, man. 6'8", 322 pounds. He's going to be the next bodyguard for Tua. That's a priority for the Dolphins, and obviously a guy his size should be able to get the job done. He's not only huge, but he's a premier pass protector. Again, that's why I'm picking him for this team, because that's a need for them, and he should fill that need very nicely. He's able to set up quickly. He anchors against power rushers, and he has good lateral quickness to go against speed rushers. Perfect guy to play offensive tackle for you. At number 22, we get the hometown Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to go off the beaten path too, because they have a very specific need, and I agree with this need. Now, they have other needs. I'm sure a lot of Eagles fans will not agree with me, but you might not be able to get a talent like this at this position. Cornerback. Right now, they got Slay and Bradbury, one of whom they're not real happy with. So I think they're going to go after Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. 6 feet tall, 195 pounds. Great in zone coverage, but a little bit raw man-to-man. He is, however, very physical, doesn't mind mixing it up when he plays press man. He has very impressive burst and great speed. He ran a 4.33. And I took a quote from Pro Football Focus when reading about this guy. It says, he has all the ability in the world to be a cornerback number 1 at the next level. That's Pro Football Focus quote, And we like Pro Football Focus. We believe in those guys. So if they see him that way, I have no problem seeing him that way also. That'd be a big pickup for the Philadelphia Eagles. At number 23, the Minnesota Vikings get to pick again. And this time, I think they're going to go after D tackle / D end, Chop Robinson out of Penn State. He's 6'3", excuse me?
Penn State.
Out of Penn State, yes. He's 6'3", 254 pounds, athletically gifted, has a high motor, and is able to generate pressure from different alignments. So again, D tackle, D end. This is a guy that could probably play the nose if you need him to, although you probably want somebody a little bit bigger. I think he could play a true D tackle or D end in a team or for a team that runs a 4-3. Okay. I made some notes to remember. This guy's actually perfect for multiple schemes. And that's exactly what DC Brian Flores runs with the Vikings. He's their DC up there. He does run multiple schemes. He does run 3-4. He does run 4-3. He also goes with odd man fronts. So this is a guy that's going to fit in very nicely there because he is very multiple. So Chop Robinson, I think, is the best guy for the Minnesota Vikings. At number 24, the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, Tyron Smith just left them, so they need an offensive tackle, specifically a left tackle, but they also need a guard. So why not get a guy that can play both, and then maybe you pick up somebody in free agency, or you get another guy later on. But let's go with versatility again. Talise Fuaga. He's out of Oregon State. He's 6'6", 324 pounds, great size. Like I said, he can play tackle or guard. He's big, and he's a strong mauler type of guy in the run game. He's very, very rugged, very good in the run game. Heavy-handed and disruptive with pass blocking. He has good agility and very good hand placement, which will serve him well, especially if he has to go to guard, but we'll see. I didn't get I don't have any notes about his arm length. So we'll see what the Cowboys decide to do. But I think that versatility will do them well if they pick him. At 25, we have the Green Bay Packers. They're going to go after the first safety. They need safety help. And the top safety, in my opinion, is Tyler Nubin. He's out of Minnesota, 6'1", 199. He doesn't have great speed or explosiveness, but he plays really well in zone coverages, and he can cover tight ends. He can blanket and shut down tight ends. Those are very specific needs. I understand that, but usually play with two safeties, free, strong, whatever you want to call them, okay? This guy can play close to the line of scrimmage, and he excels against the run also. So although he might not be a speedster, which a lot of safeties are not, believe it or not, he can hit, he can tackle, he can cover tight ends, he can cover backs, and he's real good in zone coverage. Very anticipatory as far as making decisions and all back in the zones. Okay, so at number 26, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe they will select edge rusher Laiatu Latu. He's out of UCLA. He's 6'5", 259. He started at Washington as a freshman, but he sustained a neck injury while he was there in 2020, requiring a brief medical retirement. He then transferred to UCLA, and after he got cleared, he had a nice sophomore season. His talent and his motor have never been questioned. So if he drops this far, he probably wouldn't have if not for the neck injury. But I think he completed his college career very nicely, and that should quell any issues that most pro teams have with him. He excels in rushing the passer, and he has constantly improved in defending the run game. So he will be a nice pickup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At number 27,
The Arizona Cardinals, they need help on defense also. I think they'll go with an edge rusher also. That would be Darius Robinson. He's out of Missouri. He's 6'5", 285, pretty big guy there for an edge rusher, more like a traditional DN. But he excels against the run, obviously, with that kind of size. And not only does he excel against the run, he's actually a pretty elite run stopper. He has advanced skills in stacking and shedding blocks. That is something that I've seen in some film study and has been noted by several scouts. He could use a little bit more pass rush moves, but he has made do with power at the point of attack and basic swim and rip moves, which just about every pass rusher has. But his strength has accentuated his swim and his rip move to the point where he had so much success with them that he hasn't used much else. But again, that's something that can be cleaned up in training camp. At number 28, we have the Buffalo Bills. They need a wide receiver. Stephon Diggs has been carrying this group for quite a while, and they lost Gabe Davis. I believe they're going to go with wide receiver Brian Thomas. He's out of LSU also. He's 6'3", 205. Now, what makes Brian Thomas very intriguing is at that size, 6'3", 205, he ran a 4.33 in the 40. This guy is a seriously formidable vertical threat. His acceleration and ball tracking skills are elite, and not only can he stretch the field, but he can also create after the catch. Another yak guy. He'll fit in really well, I think, for the Buffalo Bills. At number 29, the Detroit Lions obviously need help on defense. And the way their secondary got torched last year, picking up cornerback Terrion Arnold out of Alabama would be a real good pickup for them. Terrion Arnold is 6 feet tall, 189 pounds. He showed his versatility transitioning from safety to cornerback. So this guy has played safety and corner, mostly corner in college though. He's physical at the line of scrimmage. He's fluid in coverage downfield without having blazing speed. In zone, he is able to adapt to multiple schemes. So this guy can play just about any coverage, cover 1, cover 3, whatever you need him to do, this guy can do it. He should fit in very well with the Detroit Lions. At number 30, the Baltimore Ravens. We've been going back and forth about what we think is going on with this offense. So feeling like they need an offensive tackle, I think, is not a stretch at all. Amarius Mims out of Georgia is 6'8", 340 pounds. This guy is massive, yet he's very agile with tremendous strength and a very impressive wingspan. Excels at pass protection. He lost the year with an ankle injury, but came back with a vengeance in the senior year and played extremely, extremely well. Number 31, your San Francisco 49ers. Believe me, when we talked about what your needs were and you said offensive line, it's not like I didn't hear that before, okay? I kind of got on you saying it was a fan pick because we talked about what happened in the Super Bowl. I think that y'all need some secondary help, corner and safety. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go with what you believe to be the true need, which is offensive line. And I got the perfect guy for you. His name is Kingsley Suamataia. Let me try that again. Kingsley is his first name. His last name is Suamataia. He's out of BYU, obviously. 6'5", 326 pounds. Nice size. Has the ability to play left or right tackle. There's some versatility for you. Yeah, there's some versatility for you if you need to move folks around. He's already a solid pass protector. I'm sure you'd like to hear that also. With quickness and hand placement technique that makes him really good at neutralizing edge rushers. He does need some work in the run game, but he has all the physical tools to be a good run blocker too. So that's the guy I think will fit in very nicely for you. I believe you'll be really happy with him. And at pick number 32, the last pick in the first round belongs to the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. I think they go after a wide receiver. Adonai Mitchell, another Mitchell. This one's out of Texas. He's 6'2", 205. He projected, this is an intriguing pick for the Chiefs, and this is something Andy Reid would do. This guy projected as a day 2 pick early on. He had an outstanding performance at the combine. See, this guy shows you what the combine is for and what the combine can do for you. Normally, they were looking at him over the course of the season in his film studies, a day 2 guy. He turned it out at the combine, so much so that it was speculated that he pushed his way into the first round. And I agree. I believe he has pushed his way into the first round. He ran a 4.34 in the 40. He was impressive in all the on-field drills. He got in and out of his breaks really quick, and he showed really great hands. So I believe this guy is the next wide receiver of the future for the Kansas City Chiefs. And there you have it. That's my mock draft 1.0 to be worked on between now and when the draft actually gets here. And any new iterations of it, I will be sure that we give them to you in the near future.
Excellent.
Put a lot of work into that. This doing this mock draft stuff is more than a notion, let me tell you. And especially, it's not like I didn't know how much work it was going to be. I kind of forgot from last year. And my last mock last year actually was really good. It was better than Mel Kiper and Todd McShay. I beat both of them. I had more picks correct in the first round, either the right pick going to the right team or the right pick going at the right spot than both those so-called experts have. So I take this very, very seriously.
Now, I have 2 questions. I want you to define the whole right thing, what makes one right or one wrong, just for clarity. But I also I heard you differentiate between a defensive end and an edge rusher.
Yes.
Let's go there first. Well, how do you differentiate between those two?
So, and some people might not agree with me, but when I think edge rusher, I think outside linebacker in a 3-4 defense.
Okay. All right. All right.
Okay. When I think defensive end, I'm thinking of a standard 4-3 defense with 2 tackles and 2 ends.
Okay. All right. All right. That's good stuff. Good stuff. So now, as far as the what's right and what's wrong, again, your goal here, is it to correctly say what is actually going to happen in the draft? That's what you're going
As close to as possible.
It's
Yeah.
not, but let's say with my Niners, do you actually think that the draft, the Niners are going to go with that? I mean, that's why or did you just pick that because of our conversation?
Well, to tell you the truth, it's just like I was talking about. It's just so happens that your team and my team are the ones where nobody can really kind of agree. On a lot of these other teams, it was pretty much agreed. We need this, this, and this, but we really need this. But everything I read and everything I listened to, both of our teams were really up in the air. There were people saying, you guys need secondary help in the worst way. And the best thing to do, whatever needs you can fill in free agency, you do that. But if you can get a guy in the first round you can lock down and keep there for some years to come, that would be a great pickup for you. And then other people are like, yo, if we don't fix this offensive line now, we never will, because this O-line class is really strong.
Well, that was kind of what I was saying. And I have to admit a certain level of disappointment at how much competition out there for offensive linemen there was on these other teams.
Quite a bit.
Linemen. But I also have a bit of faith that we have the ability to look further down in the rounds and get some good values,
Absolutely.
over rounds, especially with the offensive line. We'll talk a little bit about that value proposition when it comes to the draft in the next segment. But okay, that kind of answers my question, So Mel Kiper doesn't have his finger on the pulse of the NFLs as much as
Well, I mean, I'm sure he thinks he does. He gets a lot more help than I do. He has people that he can call on the phone. I don't. So,
No, let me get my
that's okay.
subscription and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, I mean that they help a lot, and I got a couple other publications that I kind of lean on. But there's a lot of so-called experts out there, so I like to see what they're thinking. And usually, not only do they say, well, their number one need is offensive line, they tell you why they think that. And some of their opinions have changed since free agency. Some you'll go and they'll say, well, they needed this guy, but they picked up this dude, and they needed this position rather, but they picked up this guy in free agency. So now it's not as important as it was. So now with their first round pick, they can go after this.
Yeah.
Not only do they need it, but sometimes when your pick comes up, there's a player there that you look and you go, I can't pass this dude up.
And then the free agency piece adds such another piece of complexity to it, because when they need a receiver, they got Keenan Allen, so they need that guy. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So I've seen that happen. Yeah, it's been wild, man. So I commend you for putting that list together, and I know that took a lot of work. I got some things I have to put together, but like the backup quarterback list. But that's going to happen after the dust settles. We got to let the dust settle.
Got to let the dust settle, but that's going to be a lot more interesting than it has been in the past.
Yeah.
Team, like you said it. Teams are starting to really seriously look at this backup quarterback position now. They might have taken it lightly in the past, but yeah. But again,
go ahead.
We talk about what's the three most important positions in the NFL. Quarterback, a guy that can get after the other team's quarterback, and a guy that can protect your quarterback. Those are the three. And just so happens that all three of those positions, this draft is very strong in. Not to mention wide receiver, but
Yeah. One last thing. Marvin Harrison Jr. hasn't done a thing.
No, and he's not going to, and I don't blame him.
What's up with that? I mean, you just talked about how Mitchell elevated his level. Is it that Marvin doesn't, Junior doesn't think he can get much more benefit out of the situation?
Remember what I said. He won the Biletnikoff Award 2 years in a row. He is the unquestioned number one player at his position. To him, that's good enough. If you need a wide receiver, you're going to take me.
The NLI money, is he a big NLI guy? Is he getting a lot of money from the name, likeness, and image?
I don't know. I haven't got too deep into that. I'm sure he's made a few dollars. He's got some commercials out there somewhere. I'm positive.
Is it, because that seems to be having an effect on some of the, the kids, their attitudes of decision making, it's like, well,
Well, I don't, even if there was no NIL out there for him, he's locked in. He's the best receiver out there. He has all the tools. He's not lacking in anything. I mean, he has really good speed, but there's guys that's faster. He runs routes really, really well. Gets in and out of his breaks, got tremendous hands, deep threat, and he can be a possession guy. A lot of these other guys, they excel at one thing or two things, but they lack in something else. He's good at everything.
Where'd you say he was going?
Cardinals.
Cardinals, yeah.
The first team that comes up that is not going to pick a quarterback.
He'll be in my division.
if that happens. But there's talk that the Cardinals are looking to talk to people who may want to trade up.
We'll talk about that. Congratulations on that. All right, let's take a look at the Ben and Barry on Facebook page, and we'll finish up with some current events and some hot topics. All right, Benny, so let's start off here. We got can't guard Mike, free agent. It looks like the fans were not happy about them releasing him. What's going on with that?
Well, first of all, he's obviously a fan favorite down in New Orleans. He's played several really good years down there for the New Orleans Saints. Unfortunately, those best years were when Drew Brees was there. And since he sustained his last injury that took him a couple of years to even attempt to come back from, and then he didn't even rebound really well. At this point, he needs some more time off to get himself together. And if he moves on, has another year or two of good football left in him, he's going to have to do it somewhere else. They can't. I understand the Saints' position. They don't feel like they can stand pat at that position for a guy who may or may not come back. And in fact, if he does, might only be a shadow of himself.
Kind of can guard Mike, eh?
Yeah.
So it's been going back and forth about Justin Fields, whether or not he was rejecting deals.
Yeah, is that true?
Well, according to this report, rejected 4 trade deals before the Bears dealt with the Steelers. They said they wanted to treat him right. I heard, Poles, the general manager, actually say that, which means they apparently gave him some leeway. And, unlike Saquon, I don't know if the Eagles option came up, if his kids were like, "Does this mean we can win now?" That was funny. Did you see that? But in any event, he did have some, according to the report. So Justin Fields, and I'm kind of liking this because I really think they improved their quarterback room tremendously. They had like the Three Stooges there now. At least they got
Exactly
players,
Exactly. This is a tremendous coup for the Pittsburgh Steelers, believe me. And it'll be an even bigger coup if Russell Wilson can really get things going there. But if he can't, guess what? Justin's there to take over. Justin's way younger.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead. Be younger. Yeah.
I was going to say Justin's way younger and far more mobile. And will give you more over the long run than trying to re-sign Russell Wilson and hope year after year he doesn't fall off a cliff.
Well, the Steelers do have a history of being able to work with different types of quarterbacks like that. I mean, before, the last quarterback, they had slash and all types of stuff that they, they have some flexibility in what they can do. I don't know about the newest offensive coordinator, but I think they're going to make a little bit of noise. I'm kind of with them on this. Congratulations to Leighton Vander Esch retiring. Those Cowboys linebackers get neck injuries, don't they?
That has kind of been a little bit of a trend, hasn't it? I have to wonder about that linebacker coach there and how he's teaching these guys how to tackle. But to tell you the truth, you learn how to tackle in like little league and high school and early on in college. And you kind of keep going with what you're comfortable with. And obviously, these guys, it's wearing on them. 6 seasons, that's pretty short, especially for a guy with his kind of talent.
Yeah.
So, but it's best that he knows when to call it quits. So
6 good seasons in the NFL can set you up for life, and then you've got so many options thereafter, especially nowadays. So Leighton Vander Esch retiring after 6 seasons. So we got the rocket scientist in San Francisco.
Niners signed rocket scientist Josh Dobbs. Now he can teach Brock Purdy about what do they call those parabolas?
Parabolas or whatever.
Yeah, right. Now, if you throw the ball at this angle,
Well, hopefully, my pet peeve with Josh Dobbs was, pressure comes, he starts rolling out. He don't roll to a place where he can plant and throw. He just keeps running until he runs out of real estate. And then he makes these desperate throws on the sideline. And I don't like that at all.
well,
But,
not to say he hasn't done that, but
I've seen him do it.
I would have to.
In the first few games with the Vikings, I thought he was going to be the next starting quarterback.
Right.
But about the fifth game, it was like the defense is, oh, okay, you might be the rocket scientists, but we're the field generals here. So they started putting it on him, and next thing you know, he's out of the lineup, and they got somebody else in there, So I'm hoping that him connecting with Kyle and our offensive coordinators, our quarterback coaches, will get him to step up to the next level. You never know. I mean, Josh Dobbs, man, backing up Purdy. That's
Yeah, I could think of a lot worse guys than him.
Would you say it's an improvement over Sam Darnold?
That's a tough one. I'll tell you why. Sam Darnold's younger, number one. Number two, Sam Darnold has shown a lot of improvement after the pressure of being a savior has worn off of him. So I say Sam Darnold's getting better.
Okay.
He showed a lot of improvement over the last couple of seasons.
So you go with Sam Darnold Sam Darnold's isn't he about to get a starting job?
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to last.
A lot of one-year contracts. We're going to be talking about one-year contracts next week because I'm doing some work. I want to see who all these one-year contract guys are, man, because the NFL is not committed.
You mean that quarterback?
Yeah, well, no, across the league, a lot of one-year contracts, man. Just across the league. This was really a nice article. Kudos to Hurts for he paid for the funeral for a football player who got killed in the shooting.
That was nice.
And I think this was in Texas, and he's a Texas guy, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, you always like to see when they do good stuff, for the community. So congratulations. So the new show's going to be coming out. First they did quarterbacks. Now they're going to be doing receivers. Netflix announced the receiver series is going to release this summer, Benny.
I can't wait.
That's
I thought the quarterback show was really good. I thought it was really good, was really well done. Patrick Mahomes' wife kind of got on my nerves a little bit. But the good thing about shows like this is they really get into it. They get into their home life, how they handle their kids, what their house looks like, I thought it was pretty good show.
Yeah, you talk about you and I probably remember MTV Cribs.
Yeah.
And when we see the knock on the door with the golden jackets now, so a lot of these doors are pretty nice that they're knocking on.
And when you talk about that, then you're talking about these guys going to the Hall of Fame. It looks like they've had pretty successful retirements. Like they did well with their money. They have nice homes. They're living pretty well, which is good to see.
Yeah. So, all right, we're looking for receivers, Benny. We were both running backs at one time, but then we were both receivers. And then we were both D-backs. So I guess that means we couldn't catch, right?
No, that's not what that meant.
Speaking of catching, have you seen this video?
That's embarrassing. They shouldn't even put that on the internet.
I thought this was hilarious. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. But, hey, look, this is what
First of all, where are these guys from?
I think they're from Africa.
Okay. That's not even fair.
He's just running around, buying fruit, catch the ball.
That's not even fair. First of all, I don't know who's teaching them DB skills, but going against somebody like this, you can't simulate that.
You sure can.
You know what I mean? These guys, I don't care how good a DB you are. When you see footwork like this that you've never seen before, forget about it.
Well, the good thing about being schooled is you learn a little something, something. You know, you might see this guy in the NFL draft one day, and he'll be like, "Yeah, I was the guy that was getting schooled out there."
That's a possibility. That could happen. Yeah,
You
sure.
know, the contingent of NFL players with African names is growing every day. You know, challenging our ability to pronounce them, et cetera, et cetera. But that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I'm sure it was exciting for that young man to get his
Yep.
Tyreek Hill of all people. You know, you ready for some flag football, Benny?
Sure thing.
I think this young lady, I don't know what she's bench pressing, but them legs look like she's ready to go. She's ready to run. So, and you were always saying that the girls, how good the girls were in flag football.
Yes.
You were like impressed by their abilities. So, and actually, I think the growth of flag football is probably going to come from the women's side. I mean, you know, men have a few options. Women, so they don't play tackle as much. There's tackle leagues, but I think that's still, you know, a long ways off from being as popular as women's flag football, you know. Popular sport, ladies and characters that are coming out of that sport, you know, getting NFL time, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's going to be the growth area for flag football. And it seems to be the place that the NFL is reaching out to for sure, you know.
Absolutely.
Now, you just did your NFL draft. A couple weeks ago, you did your free agents. So I took a look just to kind of see, because I had mentioned to you, like right now, when I play Madden, I'm still playing with the same roster, you know, that was there at the end of the Super Bowl, you know.
Mhm.
That roster has changed, but we won't see, when Madden, we won't see the new roster till August. So it's going to be a long time before we actually see that roster. But these are fundamentally different teams in many cases. I mean, we talked about the Steelers. You bring on a Russell Wilson and a Justin Fields, it ain't the same Steeler anymore. You know, there's a whole new dynamic going on there. So when I looked it up, I was surprised to see that on average, only 56% of players return from 1 year to the next in the NFL. 2 years out, it's only 35%. So that's an amazing, when half of the team is turning over, you know? And it's like, I keep thinking about two things. One of our Eagle friends, once they got Saquon, right? And the Ravens, they got King Henry. And they're like, oh, Eagles and Ravens in the Super Bowl. As if there was nobody else that got, you know, newer players and upgrades and all of the other things. You know what I mean? You can't really say because so much has changed. All these teams are fundamentally different. I mean, if you maintain that talent at quarterback, that's a level of stability. I'm sure 56%, you know, of change of the team that stayed, so 54% that changed. A lot of them might be lower level players that really don't have so much of an impact. But I'm going to keep an eye on that to see, because I kind of like the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers are one of those teams that they don't change, but so much. You know, they still got the same coach. You know, so many of the other teams, they got, et cetera, et cetera.
Coach is kind of a whole different story, but there is a level of stability in some organizations that you won't find in some others.
Yeah, yeah. So there you go. Thank you, Ben. Last but not least, Benny, when I saw this, I just thought it was so amazing. Let me see if I can start this over. I'm just gonna let you.
How NFL teams should take a different, and I'm so glad you did this because I believe this. They should take a different approach to the draft And you've said first round draft picks aren't that valuable.
Yeah, this is pulling up some research that was done by an incredibly brilliant economist named Richard Thaler. And he just points out in a salary cap environment, the issue is not whether a first round player is better than a second round player. The issue is he better for the money than a second round player? And the evidence is really overwhelming that second and third round players are massively undervalued. In other words, you pay so much less for them, but they're not that much worse than a first round pick. So you should always trade down. I mean, and I think more and more teams are coming around to that, right? But still, there's a lot of, I mean, we saw in the last draft, these teams that are crazily trading up, like giving up tons of assets for first round picks. There is no data to support the wisdom of that. These are all examples of the same thing. You will never get in trouble with your fans for trading up in the draft.
And all I could think about was my Niners and all of the capital that they traded up to get Trey Lance, and what did they see that made that value? Nobody still knows and understands that, and people still wonder how GM didn't get fired for that. But that's
So first of all, let me ask you this. Didn't he say that this was what he was saying was based on a study that was done by an economist?
yes.
Okay. So obviously it's important for organizations to spend their money well on players and to get the most talent and production out of their players for the money that they spend. Yes, that is important, but having an organization that's fiscally sound but never advances in the playoffs and wins Super Bowls isn't exactly the goal.
Well, no, I would agree with that. Again, thinking back to
I mean, it may be the goal for some.
Well, it could be the goal for some. I mean, the thing is this. I think you can have a goal of wanting to win a Super Bowl, but the question is, can you get almost equitable talent for less money, which means you might be able to have a higher average salary for your players across the board, raising everybody, and then making you, more competitive in that manner. My team seems to be the poster child for this. Again, having moved up, and what was that first round, trades to get up to take Trey Lance.
Yeah, but that was one mistake.
Wait, and then strike gold with the absolute last pick of the draft. That's what I'm saying.
There you have it. But again, that was one mistake by an organization that, for the most part, has struck way more gold than they've had
I'm
busts.
just saying this is an example of maybe what they're saying.
Oh yeah, both ends of it.
Spending a lot of capital to move up for a minimal improvement in what you can actually get,
Sure.
So,
Sure.
I just thought that was an interesting thing. I'm sorry, I'm a nerd like that, but between keeping half of your staff and then the way that you spend your money, again, in the cap environment, I just think that those two things are creating a dynamic that I want to keep an eye on and see whether we can, get any insights, from understanding those trends,
Mhm.
So, all right, Benny, that does it for me. You got anything more?
Nah, man, getting ready to get out of here and get me a new boob tube so I can watch March Madness. That's my top priority right now.
All right.
Nah, man, I'm good. I ain't got nothing.
All right. Peace out.
Later.